And we are live! Hello everyone, this is the Void Executive and welcome to the stream. How is everyone doing? Hope it's going pretty well. At least for me it's going pretty well. Pretty chill Friday. It's Friday, yeah, okay, it's Friday. Had a little lapsus there. How you doing? Well, today, same with tomorrow, it will be pretty chill stream, I think. Hello. Having a headache? Oh, I hope it will get resolved soon. So, I sound tired? That's weird. I don't feel tired. Maybe I have my nose stuffed a little bit. That could be. I don't know. But yeah, I'm feeling normal, I think. So today we are going to continue the project and finish the supplicant that we began on Monday. There's really not much else to add in that character, so we'll finish this one and then we'll start the next one using the Wheel of Fortune. Yeah. I mean, compared to last week, today I'm pretty well. So yeah, so today we'll finish one supplicant and start another, just like we did on Monday. I'm pretty curious to see what the next one will be. So let's show our current progress. So this is the one that we started. Now it's a matter of adding the finishing touches. See what works, see what doesn't work, maybe polish some of the lighting, and then I think this one would be pretty much complete. So I'd say let's get to work. Go. There we go. The satin texture, oh my god, the rendering is so cool. Oh, thank you. Yeah, the idea was to have this golden look, this golden cloak, because it's in reference to the god itself, which is golden in nature. As with the rest of the supplicant variations, the design will be simpler because this image will be very small when seen in the game. So for those who are quite new, this is how they would be seen. This one is the latest one that we completed. So we don't need to add too much detail because it won't be visible anyway. So since it will be this small, we need to be as reductive as possible with the design. And I think for this one, it gives the idea pretty well. Okay, so first thing I will need to do is add a chain to this medallion over here, which is this one here. So let me simply grab a simple golden chain to photo bash in. Golden chain. Can be something very, very simple. Something simple, or maybe something quite a bit maybe decorated, but not too much. Or maybe I could... I like this one. It could be reminiscent. Okay, I found some images that may be interesting. If the image is big enough in terms of quality. Oops. So let's start with this one. Let's move this one on the appropriate section. What do you drink to be energized whenever you're tired? Water. I basically only drink water, with the exception of in the morning, in which I drink tea, warm tea. I'm not one that drinks coffee because I don't like coffee. Like, oddly unrelated question, I have nothing to talk about. Yeah, that's fair enough. Hello, welcome to the stream. I am not one that I don't like coffee, but I like everything that's coffee flavored. So it's a bit weird, but for example, I don't like coffee, but I like yogurt with coffee flavor, stuff like that. I don't like coffee, but I like tiramisu, which has coffee in it. So yeah, it's a bit weird, but I don't think this one is good. Let me find just a regular chain, which may be more appropriate. Golden chain. Maybe something high quality. Let me double check if the stream is going well. Okay. Might sound bad, but I drink 2 or 3 or more cups of coffee a day. I cannot go through the day without at least 1 coffee. If I don't drink it, I might just fall asleep on the spot. I mean, I know that like once in the morning should be good, but drinking too much, it makes you too restless, if I'm not mistaken. That can work with anything with the caffeine. So it applies also to energy drinks, for instance. This one can work. Let's see how this one can be implemented. Let's duplicate this one. Let's remove this part which we don't need. I know, but hey, at least I'm not like my friend. She drank Coke like every day. I actually joke, one drinks coffee every day and the other Coke. Guess who's gonna die first? I mean, Coke is bad not because it has caffeine, but because it has all of those sugars and stuff. I mean, it's harmful in that direction. So I wouldn't recommend it drinking Coke on a regular basis. But hey, to each their own, I say. Like, I rarely drink Coke. I only drink it on special occasions like parties or stuff like that. A huge problem with fizzy drinks, we always have big bottles of iced tea or cherry pop in the refrigerator. How do you say it in English? You might get rocks in her oh yeah, kidney stones. Yeah, those are nasty. You don't want to get kidney stones. I mean, you can get them normally, but you can prevent that by simply drinking lots of water. Maybe a few glasses a day, not entire bottles, but it's still a lot of sugar. Yeah, we always should avoid. I mean, we in my family, we even stopped drinking alcohol too much. Like my parents used to drink like a glass of wine every dinner or every lunch, but now it's much less common. We basically drink filtered tap water. Okay, now let's change the colors slightly. Yeah, I think it's a good habit to try and drink only plain water. For example, you know, guys, how you need to drink much more water than you normally do, right? And so I started making a habit of every 3 hours or so, like do a little break and get in the kitchen and drink a cup of water, and it can become a good habit. Okay. Let's add the filter to make this one less photo-like. Yeah, man, even today, at this point, I don't care about the taste. I grab like a bag of crisps and make a grilled cheese because it's so convenient and easy. I have so much time on my hands. Yet I eat so unhealthy is becoming a real concern. Yeah, I mean, much like in drawing, the important part is the first step. Then once you do the first step, it becomes much easier to do the rest, I think. And of course we need to change the spot. I do grilled cheese in a waffle maker. I don't think I've ever made... I mean, I don't know if it's considered grilled cheese, but there is a type of cheese I specifically eat from time to time when I put it on a pan. But it's not that I fry it in oil or anything. I just let it melt on the pan, and that's pretty much it. I can eat almost anything with just don't have fruit or vegetables in the kitchen. I mean, some things about fruit which I can agree with is that with most fruits it's a bit of a pain having to peel it off and all of that stuff. So if you want to start eating fruits more often, I recommend starting with bananas, which in my opinion they are the best type of fruit you can ever get, because they are the easiest to peel off, they don't stain you as much, I think and easy to eat. Hello, welcome to the stream. Today we are finishing this one. Although we need to be a bit careful, because we may need to change the clothing underneath in order to make it behave, make it interact in a way with the metal chain. So let's see what we can do. Liquefied. Okay. So what I'm going to try and do is select some areas and try to warp them so they follow somewhat the this part. I think it will be a bit problematic. So I think we can try something like, because I want to make it so it kinda, since it's a lot of clothing, I want to make it so the folds kinda roll over the chain in some parts. So let me try and do something like this. Maybe something of this type, and then below here we'll try to warp it. Let me go back over here. Let me make this completely darker. It's temporary. Then it will do something like, so basically it should do like this and then like this and then like this. Let me do a quick sketch. So it does like this, here it covers, and then like this. This it covers, goes behind, and then like this. Something of this nature. We do something like so. Darker area below. You guys want to know a random fun fact? Yeah, let's hear it. What fun fact do you have in mind? Okay, now let me... Here it requires, I think, a bit less intervention. Although some intervention is still required nonetheless. Strawberries can increase your arousal, although for it to actually have an effect you'd have to wait around 100 or more. That's a lot of strawberries. Strawberries is one of my favorite fruits. Especially nice to eat when during summertime. What I usually do is cut the strawberries and put them in a big bowl, and then what you do is you add like 3 spoons of sugar and 1 squeezed lemon. Then you mix it all together and you leave it there for a few minutes, and then it creates this mix of strawberries with some sugary strawberry juice on the bottom, which is really tasty. I'm not sure this method is working much. Let me see if I can. Right. Instead, maybe I should make this chain tighter. Let's see. Maybe. Let's make a copy. What's the chemistry and biology behind it? Oh, I mean, I think something similar I've read about watermelon. Like watermelon doing something similar, but I'm not sure how accurate it is. I think this method can work a little bit, so it will be some sort of flat type of chain, maybe. I think this one can work. Yeah, I think this one can work. Yeah, I think this one can be a pretty good compromise, so we don't get insane by trying to make it work. Okay, so strawberries help the blood flow and the health, which result in wellness in the intimate matter, and although some people call it a natural aphrodisiac, for it to have actual effect on that, you'll have to eat way too much. I mean, I think it's similar to the apple seeds that have cyanide in it, but in order for them to be effective, you need to eat like a shit ton of apple seeds. Something like that, maybe. Okay, let's see how this one looks like with the values. Yeah, something like that, yeah. I have a little fun fact of my own. Did you guys know that in Britain there is the most dangerous garden in the world? Because it's a garden in which every poisonous plant is kept. So there is this garden which warns you if you want to go in there, because there is every possible venomous plant in the world that's kept and conserved over there. Which is kinda crazy if you ask me. I don't remember, I think the name is Poison Garden or something like that. But it's pretty interesting nonetheless. Like it is, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, it's recommended to bring a mask with you, because you might inhale some toxic spores or toxic pollen. Which is kinda crazy, not gonna lie. Yeah, there's a bunch of weird places in the world. I mean, for example, in my country there is a church, or not a church, but I mean, yeah, it could be considered a church, but it's very small. It's more of a crypt than a church, which has decorations made entirely of human bones. It's a place where some like monks are buried, which are also on display, like as if they were skeletal statues. And imagine like a decoration you find in a church, like those you find in the walls, but those are entirely made of bones. And they are bones of any age, any person, which is very interesting, if you ask me. A human, real human bones. Let me see if I can find the name. Italy human. Yeah, it's in Italy because I live in Italy. Yeah, it's a crypt in Rome. Skeletons of 4,000 friars. And there's another in Milan. But if you look up, if you search Italy Human Bones Chapel on Google Images, you'll see the images, and there's a lot of bones. Straight out of Dark Souls game, basically. I mean, it's more of a symbolic choice more than anything, because there is like a slab, and the translation of what's written on it is that we were once like you, and you will be like us, or something along those lines. It's basically a memento mori type of thing, so it's a reminder that you will die someday. Quite macabre, but it was a very common saying at the time. So bad it got closed and soon enough burned down its domestic and with Speaking of churches, did you guys know there's a cathedral that was abandoned and later on made a playground for children? Yeah, there's plenty of churches that were no longer consecrated and are used for something else. For example, in the where my grandparents used to live, in a small town, there were two churches, one in front of each other, and one of them was no longer consecrated, and today it hosts different events like art galleries and stuff like that, since it no longer has religious function anymore. Okay, I think it's okay with the chain. You don't have to go too crazy about it. I just want to do one last thing with this character and see if it works. Which is, I wanted to try and add some of the decorations on the head over here of the main god and see if it applies well when placed something similar on top of the head of this supplicant version. Then, if this works or not, we'll see. Then we'll do one last addition, which is the highlight on the border, which is something that we've done both in this one and in this one. Then maybe balance some lights and shadows, because I realized that maybe it's a bit too bright compared to the others. I think the brighter spots are a bit too bright. I guess I can do it right now with this one. Let's see. Because I like the effect it has, but it doesn't have to be. As I said, we need to avoid, except in this area, but we need to go pure, complete white, because they are not usually, it distracts too much, so we need to tone it down a bit. And that's one of the main issues that you will face if you don't use your filters sparingly. Let's see. Already by removing these extra bright spots, it's already much more merciful on the eyes. Now, by default, it's brighter because it's for the sun god, so it's okay. Although we can do something similar to this and maybe darken the bottom area. Maybe. Let's try. Actually, first let me try the decorations on top here. I was thinking of something very very simple and straightforward. Something like and then maybe for now temporarily make it like so. Okay, let me do something smarter. Let's add symmetry. Then we can always change it later. So yeah, going back to the church made of human bones. I mean, of course, it's a Christian church, and I must say, sometimes there are some really some things about Christianity that are pretty metal if you think about it. Like if in Spain there is some iconography that's really impressive and also a bit gruesome. Like same with the chapel made of bones. I think there are plenty of saints that have like their bodies, which is just skeleton, adorned in the tons in a lot of jewelry or into metal armor or things like that. Okay. I think I like this this addition over here. Maybe we just need then to adjust some things, but I think these additions give the right amount of detail without being overcomplicated. Yeah, have you seen the one in which it's just a jaw of a saint and it's encased in a glass face, but when they made the photo, the flash of the photograph, it appears as if it made two eyes and has this creepy. It's a bit hard to describe. Let me show you right away. Let me show you briefly. Let me show it to you. Okay, so this one is the chapel made of bones, but the jaw is jaw of Saint Anthony. It is this one here. So you see those. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for coming to the stream. So this one is the jaw of Saint Anthony, and you see those eyes, those white dots that look like eyes. Well, in reality, they are the reflection on the glass. But seen it this way, it seems like it's a creepy face with two eyes and a jaw. Yeah. So these are not eyes, they are simply the reflection of the light on the glass. This is the jaw of Saint Anthony. It's one of the many Christian relics. I don't know where is it. I think it's in Spain. But yeah, it's a jaw of a saint. But there's also... See you. There's also saints that are like covered to the brim with jewelry and nice dresses. Something like this. Which is... those are martyrs, I think. I mean, which are saints at the end of the day. But Christianity is way less boring than it looks like. It has many of these pretty unknown but cool things nonetheless, and they can be a great sort of inspiration. And this type of iconography has been the inspiration of a game that I really like. It's a Metroidvania called Blasphemous. So I don't know if you guys ever played it. I highly recommend it if you are fans of Hollow Knight and Metroidvanias in general. I think you really like this game called Blasphemous. It's made by a Spanish team which uses this type of things as inspiration, which is particular to Spain or some regions of Spain. And imagine like Dark Souls in 2D, but even in themes. Like, it's not like in Hollow Knight where it's cute bugs roaming around. Okay, now I think we can add these last twigs here. Maybe something like so. Something subtle enough to give some sense of depth. Let's do it on this side as well. Okay. Yeah, I think we are basically complete with this one. Now, there is one last thing to do, which is let's do this. Which is to add the this small light. Oh yeah, no, I almost forgot. As a very small and very last touch, I think I can try and balance things out, because I want the lighting to be more or less similar with the others. I know that this one should be bright, but maybe this area can be less bright than the rest. Let's see if it gives a cool effect or not. You know what? I don't think it's necessary. It has to be bright because the god it's referring to is bright. Then we'll see how well it looks like when placed in the game. Before we do that, however, let's add this one here. We don't have to be super precise because it won't be much visible in the final result anyway. There we go. Okay. Now we have the version over here. And let's group it and name the group Patriarch of the Sun. And now we make the different version 1 and version 2. So let's see how it will look like over here. Okay, and then let's see how it will look like down here. Yeah, I think it looks pretty nice. As I've said, we did good not to add too many details because this is how more or less it will be seen. Then of course, once I'll finish every version, they will be sent over to the team, which will test them out and we'll see how they look like. I think I'll need also to export in the right resolution, because right now the resolution of the entire image it's like 4K resolution, but these icons will be just a few hundred pixels So it will be much similar to how we are seeing it right now. So right now we have completed 3 versions: the Reaper of the Equinox, the Uncle of the Harvest, and the Patriarch of the Sun. Now let me fix something real quick. Okay. 1 and 2. Okay. So we made these 3 versions, which I think they look alright. Perfect. Let me simply save. And I think we can go to the Wheel of Fortune and... Wait, I'm about to sneeze. 1 second. Apologies. Just had to sneeze. Okay. We completed the 3rd one. We have 4 more to go. We only... Hello! Hello, Mr. Laurel. Welcome to the stream. We have just finished another version of the Supplicant, which is the main minion of the game called, thank you, Shadows of Forbidden Gods. So these ones are the versions that we made. So this is the same character technically, but it changes appearance depending on the type of god that you have selected. So far we need to make a total of 7 versions plus an 8th one, and so far we have just completed our 3rd. So going in order from oldest to newest, we made this one over here, then this version over here, and then today we've just finished this one here. Now what we are going to do is go back to the Wheel of Fortune, because this is how we decided, how we determined which one we were going to do next. Let me show you right away. There we go. Okay, so we have this Wheel of Fortune, and so far both for this project and the other unrelated project, we are leaving the decision to fate. So now that we have completed the 3rd version, we'll allow the wheel to decide the next one. Is everyone ready? Let's see which one will it be. Wait, let me first open something that I forgot to open. I need to open the reference board, so I have the references for what we are going to draw. There we go. Okay, and the next one we'll begin today is... Oh, let's see. The Painter of Winds. Hooray! Okay. Let's remove this one and go back to our document. Now let me quickly grab the god which we are referring to in a second. Project. Okay, so the version of this minion that we are going to make is in reference of this guy over here. So essentially we need to make, just like we did with the other variants, a minion that gives away the fact that it's related to this god in particular, following certain limitation and certain design characteristics. So the main characteristic of the supplicant is that in all of its version, it's a hooded figure in which you cannot see the face. That's basically the main the main rule, and maybe the most important one that we strictly need to follow when creating this character, because it's been like this even for its versions in the vanilla game. So for instance, this is the first version that we made, and it's in relation with this god over here. So basically we need to make something that's simpler, both because it's a minion, so it's less important than the god itself, and because this one is going to be like as if it was a profile picture, so it will be a very small image, so we don't need to add a shit ton of detail because it will be lost anyway in terms of when the image will be shrunk down. So we need to do something very similar for this one here. Now let me group it. Painter of Winds. I'll remove this darker background so we can do our initial sketch. And let me switch quickly to the document of the references so I can show you guys the what we are going to use as reference. So this is the reference document for all of the different variants of the gods, and this one are the references that I used for the god that we are going to do the minion of right now. So we'll need to do something like a hooded figure, but have this sort of windy look, but especially have some Middle Eastern type of clothing. So what I think we are going to do is first look a couple of references just to have a general idea and some sort of direction. Let's see. The Eastern traditional clothing look, maybe. I like maybe something like this. Maybe something like I was thinking something with lots of clothing. And something with the jewelry, because if we look back at here, the main god has a shit ton of jewelry, so I think we'll add a couple of jewels to give that impression. So let's see what we can find. I like this version. Let's see if we can. This one can. This one is interesting. Okay, I will save some images that I may find interesting, but that doesn't mean that we are going to use all of them. Usually when you grab references, it's a good idea to grab the references that you think are interesting for the project, but then you need to do some filtering through the ones that you saved and pick only the ones that are strictly necessary. So let's start from this one, which is one of the original references, and let's see if we can find some variation. Let's try instead Middle Eastern clothing cloak. Let's see if there is something similar. Maybe a clothing like this, but without the face, so basically all covered. Or maybe something like this. Let's save both. I think yeah, this one is AI, unfortunately. This one too. Although I like the way it's made. It looks like the type of clothing that Dune has. Like maybe we can get something from there. Dune traditional clothing. Yeah, maybe something like that. Although they are very modernized. You can tell this is more from a sci-fi movie instead of a fantasy setting, which is what we need. Because these are very geometric shapes. Okay, let's go back, otherwise here it only suggests AI generated stuff. Let's try instead desert cloak, not character. Let's try without it. Half of this is AI, damn it. Maybe something like this. Yeah, this one is AI as well. Damn it. Although I kinda like the combination it has, although okay, let's try. This one is a bit too generic, I think. This one is too geometric to be something from the desert. Okay, well, I think let's work with what we have. I think I'll do one version and see how it works visually, and then we'll see. Before we do that, however, since we are more or less halfway through, we'll take a very small water break, and then we'll be back in with the new supplicant, starting with the sketch. Okay, so I will be right back in a couple of minutes. Okay, I'm back. Let's start with the new supplicant version. I want to think first about the different pose, because what we did with the others was, the first was the most generic type of pose imaginable. This one is already a bit different, and this one is different still. So for this one, we need to think maybe of yet another pose. It doesn't have to be too different from the others, but just enough to be unique. Yeah, maybe I found one. Okay. First layer. Let's make this one a bit smaller. Now, what I always do is first do a very approximate head, to which I build upon to make the cloak. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Just an idea. Make it a bit bigger. Then for this one we lower it, and then okay. You could try something like so. And here it will be basically all black. Although I think yeah, no, I think we need to make it much more similar. Although, let me see. Let me see. I mean, I think I could add a veil, like with the main god. Maybe that can work. Although I don't want to. Okay, let me see the other versions that we made. It's this one, and this. Okay. Maybe with this one we can add the veil, but not that it covers like this, but maybe something that covers, or rather that does something like this. Maybe this part can be well, let's remove this part. This part, let's duplicate it and then delete. Add this one again. Then maybe do something like so. We are being very loose with the with this sketch because we are still at the very early stages. Okay. I think we are getting there. Good to go now? See you tomorrow. Yep, I'll see you at 3 p.m. Thank you. Thanks for coming to the stream. See you. Okay, this part will be pitch black. Although I want to make it as if it's made by different types of clothing, much like over here. And then I had add some smaller versions of these loose thread thingies. Remove these parts over here. Maybe for this one. Okay, let's try something. Something like this, maybe? Okay, now let me do a very quick test over here and try to make this part all dark and see if it works. Okay. Yeah, of course, I think this one needs to be bigger. If it is. Okay, maybe something is nature. Although we need to maybe here add some jewelry of some sort, something like here, maybe something like this, something like something like here. Something like so. And then these type of smoky streaks. We could do maybe so. Or maybe down here, something. Right, let me go back to the others. Because for this one, it's pretty straightforward. For this one, that's pretty straightforward too, if I manage to find the reference. For this one, it's pretty straightforward as well. For this one, even this one was pretty simple to make. Yeah, I think I like it how it went like this. Of course, we need to do a better version. So let me simply mix all of this together. Lower the opacity and then do a much more detailed version of the sketch on top. Much like the original one, for this one we need to be careful, and maybe we'll need to do some photo bashing, just like we did over here for all of the different jewels and stuff. So. Let's do just that. Doesn't have to be too precise, but the more precise it is, the less struggle we'll have later. Okay, let's try to do something like so. Then over here we'll make the clothing. Okay. There we go. And of course this one can be corrected in due time. There we go. This part seems to be is proving to be trickier than I anticipated. Okay, something like this, and then here we add the jaws, which can have any shape really. We'll see what we can find once we make the photo bashing part. I'll just add these as a placeholder. They will be replaced later. Okay, yeah, more or less. We don't need to be too crazy with the sketching. Now, I think we can start with the colors. First, let me do something like so. There we go. Yeah, I think this one can be a good shape. Let me see if it works okay with the rest. Yeah, I think it can. Now, let me save. And then, since we are here, just before we do any colors, let's flip the canvas and do some changes where necessary. For instance, I think here we need to do changes. There you go. Maybe do another layer here. Something like that. Like add some extra layer to it. Maybe. Okay, I think we can start with the shapes. So yeah, with the colors. Okay, let's do main body. This one is the sketch. And using the magnetic lasso, as we've always done, we loosely select. Okay, wait. Let me try it again. And we'll use the same colors from the god. So we can't do mistakes in terms of colors. Okay, this one is done. Then let's do this part over here. I think I'll do it a different type of color. These are only temporary, then we'll change them when necessary. Let's make this blue. There we go. And this one is the veil. Let's rename it. We have the main body, the veil, and these ones are the jewels which we'll add at the very end. There we go. Now I will already do the pitch black area over here. There we go. A bit too quiet. Let's try with the new track. There we go. Now with this one it should be pretty straightforward. So we simply copy, lock it, and then where do we want the light to hit? Let me flip the canvas once more. I think this time I want to hit it on the right side. Let me see the comparison with the others. This one comes from this direction. This one from this direction. This one kinda from the front. Yeah, let's do it on this direction as well. Let me flip it again just in case. Let's start with something simple. Then very dark over here. with maybe some light in this area. Now let's do something similar for the veil over here. Maybe make it bright over here and okay, let me fix something real quick. There we go. Try one bright color maybe over here. Of course, just like we did here, we may need to change slightly some hues, but not right now. Right now I'm trying to establish the values already, at least a rough version. Let's duplicate. Let's do these shadows. They are still very approximate, but just to give a general idea. This area is a bit too bright. Let me see if I can multiply over it. Then I think we can already try to change some values. Let's colorize it. Yeah, I think this one is much better. Let's do the same thing over here, maybe for these areas underneath. Okay. Yeah, we want to add some red over here, but it will be present in the different jewelry. Because if we add the jewels over here, it will be something like so. Something like here, something like here, some random stuff over here. These ones I think would be made of jewels. I don't want to adorn it too much, but just enough. At least up here. Okay. Let's flip it back. We can remove the jewels for now and go back to the main clothing. Okay. Okay, let me see if I can already try to establish the lighting, even if in this rough state. Maybe something like so. Oops. Yeah, something like that. And then use multiply. To make all of the different shadows. I'll try to already make some like the different folds of the cloth. Oh, yeah, something like that. I think we need to work more on this side though. Make this area over here darker because of the way the head is turned. With a bit of lighting on one side, on the other side. I think at this point we can kind of get rid of the sketch, but I would wait a bit more. At least I think I can get rid of this middle area, which is very in the way. There we go. Yeah, I think it's reaching an interesting result. Still lots of work to do. I think I need to work a bit more on this area. Oops. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I think this version in particular, I think it will take me, instead of just 2 streams, I think it will take 2.5 or even 3. Of course it will take less compared to the main god that I've made, but I want to make the fabric look right, at least similar to the references. Because I'm noticing that it has a bit too many folds maybe. I think we need to go simpler. Okay, let's try one before and after. Okay, yeah. It's a bit better. Okay, let me try and replicate something that's on the reference. So it's something, it's kinda like this. So here it's sort of united, and then there is this part over here. Down here it's much darker. Here it's something like so. This part needs to be much darker. Let's not forget the brighter parts. Although they are too bright, at least for now. Maybe it's best if I don't know if I should merge this layer with the rest. No, maybe not. Okay, let me make an experiment. First, let's remove this sketch in these areas, and then and try to use this very hard brush so I have less uncertainty. Like, I'll start with some very hard lines and then I'll soften them later. Maybe something like so. It's this area that's giving me some trouble. Let's make it all one, and then we slowly build it up. Let's try now with the softer version. No. Let's flip it once more. Okay, maybe I got this. Okay, I think we are getting there. No. Let's try something like this. Okay, it's a bit more defined now. I think I still need to work on it. The light comes from here, so this area should be. Okay, let's see how it works over here. So it should be something like you make a copy. Should be something like, okay, here brighter and here darker. Okay, and at this point it's all fine and dandy. Maybe here needs to be. Let me see more references. Here, something like something like this. Although here it should be darker. I think here as well. Okay, I think we have something. Mm. Let's see a before and after. Yeah, I think this one works much better. Maybe this part needs to be a bit more like so. Because technically it comes all from here. Same. Over here. Okay. We are we are back on track. I thought I was getting a bit lost there, but now it's starting to look like proper clothing. Even if it's still in a very sketchy phase, but that's still better than nothing. I'd say we try to do the same thing on the other side, over here. There we go. Although, of course, this area needs to be oops. This area needs to be darker. Okay. Oh, why is there no music whatsoever? Come on. There we go. Okay. Let's work a bit on the top over here. First, let me remove some parts of the sketch that I don't think we'll need. I did the wrong area. Okay, this one should be the correct layer. Yes. Let's do the same thing over here, or actually, let me see if I can make it simply. Only this part dark like this, maybe? Yeah, let's change more. Let's add more shadows. Yeah, something along those lines. Then here we need to darken this area, I believe. Same behind here. Yeah, let's try maybe make this part a different color altogether. And then this part, let's make it very bright. And maybe this one in the middle, it could be yet another variant. And even here, let's try with the color dodge. Try something. Something like so. I like it like this, but I think I need to tone it down, this area. Yeah. Overall, I like how the lighting is turning out. I think it's just a matter of trying to be careful, especially down here with all of the different folds and stuff. Although I think we are slowly getting to a nice result. This is the brightest region. I think I could try to add some folds or something. Maybe something like so, maybe. Okay, let me do it on a layer on top, and then so what I'll do is do something like this, make it very dark on one area, and then I will simply delete it and see if it works. Let's try and warp it. Nope. Okay, and then I don't know, I'm just trying shit out. Okay, let me try again. Maybe this time with the multiply effect. Okay, okay. We are getting somewhere. Okay, let's try something like this. Let's rotate just in case. Okay. Yeah, I think this can work well. It has some interesting folds compared to nothing at all, so I think we can incorporate this one. I think we want to develop this area as well. So we can just do that. Maybe with something like so. And then make some sort of... Okay, let me make this area and this area of the same color. Yeah, so now it's a bit better. We make it more like this. There we go. And then make here darker, I think. Yeah. Add a stronger shadow this way. Okay, I think, yeah, we are slowly getting there. Then let's see with the sketches of the jewels as well. Yeah, I think overall it will look nice. Of course, it will be something that will continue on Monday. But overall, let's see in comparison with the others. Yeah, I think in terms of lighting, we are there basically. It's just a matter of making everything work nicely, clean the brush strokes, all of that good stuff, and make it more similar to this one. Maybe when I'll do the photo bashing, I will add some patterns like I did over here, even though it's not really necessary since the icon will be so small. I didn't want to add this smoke because this one will be particular for the god itself. But I think this one is a good variation. I mean, if it is, it gives away that Middle Eastern type of vibes in terms of clothing. So we'll have this one here, this one here, this one here, and this one here. Maybe I could, yeah, let me work a bit more on the pose itself, because I'm noticing that it's maybe too similar to this one over here. Let me see if I can find something like a pose that's a bit more interesting. Like, we don't have to change too much, just enough. Maybe it can be something like something like looking up. Let's see how well this will look. And then down here we do something like so. Yeah, I think this can work. Let me simply adjust the veil and the jewels, which of course they will need to be changed, but these are only placeholder. So now it's a bit different from this one over here. At least it's a bit more, it's slightly different enough to make it, maybe I can make it even more changed. Let me see. Okay, and then do the same for the jewels. Yeah, then of course we need to change this sketch, but it's not really that necessary. I mean, not anymore, at least. Yeah. Yeah, I think this pose is different enough to make it more unique. Or maybe I could do something like yeah, maybe something more dramatic, like a gaping maw. Let's see how big it is compared with the rest, because it has to be similar, the hole, in terms of size. I think I can slightly make it bigger. Let's warp it. Okay, and then over here we add a much darker area. Something like this. Then of course we'll work on it a bit later. Maybe do something like so. Huh. Yeah. Oops. Okay. I don't know. We'll continue this one on Monday, but I'm pretty satisfied with how it's turning out. We'll see how it will end. So, this one is the current progress of the 4th supplicant out of 7 plus 1 more, but that will be the extra one we'll do at the very end. I had some difficulties at first, but much like with many other occasions, I kinda managed to save it. For a moment I thought I wasted a bunch of time trying to correct things, but as always, with enough patience and with enough will to fix the issue, you will eventually manage to fix the problem. So this one will continue on Monday, and tomorrow instead we'll continue and I think finish the other drawing, the one which has as a theme white and red, because there's really a few things we can tweak, and much like today, we'll finish the drawing, spin the wheel, and see the next drawing that we are going to do. And then we'll continue. I really hope that if we manage to finish the drawing tomorrow and start a new one, I hope it will be a particular theme. Like, I am hoping that one of the themes that are present in the wheel will appear, but there's so many, I'm not sure it will happen, but eventually it will, because we'll do all of them eventually. And if I'll have some new ideas in mind, I will add them to the wheel. And of course, as I've always said, if you guys have some suggestions to add to the wheel of things to draw, they are more than well accepted. And so we continue on with these smaller projects, and I guess I will see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow, for those who are new, it will be not at this hour, like not at 8:30, but at 3 p.m. So I'll meet you guys on tomorrow at 3 p.m. for a very chill drawing afternoon, just to end on a high note in the weekend. That said, this has been the Void Executive, and I wish you guys a very good night. See you tomorrow, guys.